This is Sexy Funny Raw, where we chat all about the world of sex, from dating and relationships all the way to the adult industry itself. I'm Silvia Saige, and this is my Pornspective, answering all the questions you weren't even brave enough to ask Google. Get ready, because Sexy Funny Raw starts now. Welcome back, you guys. It's another episode of Sexy Funny Raw. If you're not terrified about this episode, you should be. I know I am. I am joined in studio today by two of my favorite humans. Dr. Eddie is to my left here. He will be giving us all of our public health information for the day. And then I have also invited my very good friend Johnny Mitchell to be on the show today. And we are going to be running through some things. Johnny is an actor, comedian.
This is going to be the ignorant side of the panel.
Actor, comedian, podcaster, and sex-having extraordinaire.
Yeah.
So,
sex addict, former sex addict in recovery.
There you go.
You know, yep.
I forget you are in recovery from being a sex addict.
I exaggerate it. It's one of those things you kind of literally get older and grow out of, in my opinion. I just don't have the energy to go be a sex addict, you know? Like, can I be a sex addict, like, without traffic?
You just have to do it where it, like, is your income. Then it's so much easier.
I know, dude. I can't get a hard on when there's a union guy with a fucking, a gaffing stick telling me to hurry up.
Or slow down.
Welcome to my world.
I'm trying to take a lunch. I got a crew here that's been here since 5 a.m.
Nobody gets to porn sets.
Can you blast one off?
By the way.
Okay.
All right, so today's episode, we are going to get down and dirty about your dicks. Today we're talking penises, you guys. This is the penis episode. This is the place you want to be if you have a penis, want a penis, or just want penises. This is the episode for you. So, without further ado, you've got dicks, you've got dongs, you got cocks, you got shafts, you got schlongs, you got peckers, you got willies, you got wieners, you got hoses, trouser snakes. These are just a few of the names. I don't know what you call yours at home. I feel like everybody has something different that they call their own penis. But today we are literally discussing the essence of the male and masculinity, okay, sexuality, and somewhat of a cultural obsession made flesh, called your penis. As an organ, is an important part of the male reproductive system, but it also has taken on new meaning with our transgender brothers and sisters. Amen to that. And we are going to dive very deep into what that means for our very deep.
I feel like a lot of lesbians watching the show would call the penis the enemy.
Do they?
Yeah, I think that's what they would.
Enemy?
I think a lot of, especially the butch. I think the nice lesbians obviously view the penis as kind of like a funny, playful thing, but I think a butch lesbian views the penis like the Israelis look at the Palestinians, enemies.
See, you know I disagree. I think that they still want a penis, and they're just getting it in a different
But it's competition.
form.
It's competition, you know?
There's, strap-ons. I don't think it's the dicks they hate. It's just the people attached to the penises.
You can't have one without the other.
Problem. You can, though.
Actually, you can.
I was going to say
totally
you
can.
absolutely
science.
can have one
Forgot about
without
that.
the other.
Yeah, but okay, fine.
I probably wouldn't put them
I'll grant it.
as hostile, or you're like highlighting tensions that may or may not exist for certain communities.
Well, I'm cool with the lesbians. I also like women. You like women, I like women, but it's they got a problem with me.
Do you think that? Do you think the lesbians
Yeah, I'm doing a joke about how I was sentenced to prison by a butch lesbian, and I knew it was going to be an issue. Like, I'm more scared of those gals will throw the book at a guy like me. I'm more scared of I see the buzz cut and I'm like, fuck, I'm about to get life. She's sentencing the enemy. She's putting away her competition.
I don't think lesbians see you as a competition.
Yeah, maybe I'm projecting, dude.
I think you're
maybe
projecting.
I'm projecting. Probably projecting. I think I have insecurities.
Maybe it's
I want to be a lesbian, dude.
Maybe it's because
I want to cut my
side.
penis off and be a lesbian.
Is there some toxic masculinity coming out of you right now?
I don't think so. Could be, though.
I will say that penises are bound up with the construct of masculinity to the extent that they're a sliding scale, right? The bigger the penis, the more masculine. That's what society has said, right?
Yeah, perhaps, I guess. Yeah, that's true.
I mean, it's certainly related to how men view themselves, right?
Right.
So a lot of men don't have a lot of experience seeing other men.
Right.
So in your field, right, in the adult film industry, you have men with pretty large penises.
Right, for the most part.
Right, often.
Yeah.
And so that's the only comparison base that some guys have depending on where you're from. And so that creates a problem right from the get-go when you think that that's the norm, and
also their penises haven't fully grown, right? I don't even know at what age a man's penis comes to full, like,
I think it's like
growth.
21, isn't it? It's pretty late. It's late in the game.
I actually don't know the answer.
it's not going to change drastically from like 18 to 21, but that range at least.
We need to get that out to the kids.
Yeah.
We need to tell a 15-year-old who is scared to
it's
take a
not
shower,
done.
your cock will get big and thick, my friend.
Yeah.
Comparatively.
Maybe.
Maybe. Oh, God. If not, you need to study.
But if
it's like an ugly chick. You need to get smart, hun.
Oh,
Whoa.
my
An ugly chick and a small-dicked boy.
We do not all consent with the message that Johnny Mitchell sends
No.
across on this podcast.
You should. I don't know why not. If I go to my son and I see that he's got...
Thank God he does not have a son, but go ahead.
But we know of.
Yeah.
I'm going to tell the boy... and he will be a boy, even if he's a girl. We're identifying as boys. I'm going to say, honey, your clit is a little small. You're going to need to study. You need to study and be smart. That's really what it is. And we can talk about all this progressive bullshit, but at the end of the day, if your penis... Now, I've heard girls want... I've heard normal is actually the preferred penis size. They call it husband dick.
Wait.
Am I allowed to say that?
No, yeah, you can absolutely say that.
I've heard husband dick is actually the preferred penis size. I've heard gals don't really want a too large of a unit.
And we should state that average penis size is between 5 to 7 inches.
Fuck off.
But with 5
Are you
being-
serious?
it's
I thought it was 5.5.
Closer to 5. It's closer to 5, but
Yeah.
between 5 and 7.
Right. Okay. So I'm on the high end of the average scale.
And I
like
also
that.
just learned that a micro penis is at 3.3 inches or smaller is considered a micro penis, which
wow.
I thought was I thought it was much smaller. So
Right.
I'm astounded to find that 3.3 is considered a micro penis.
Because you could do work on a 3.3.
I would say
I
that
could.
we should be conscious of those kinds of labels.
Yeah.
Right? Because a lot of these are medical
Medically
diagnoses, and so
Right.
all of those things are a part of the world as well
Yeah.
that we should be
Yeah.
conscious of. And so
Yeah.
throwing around words like micropenis or
Yeah.
Dangerous.
Just call it
Insulting.
Just call it an Irish dick and move on. You know?
I don't know that I have been with Irish men, but I just don't enjoy the accent. Has nothing to do with the penis.
No, I find the accent's lovely, actually.
An
weird.
Irish accent?
Yeah.
Nothing against the Irish, just, personal preferences.
Right.
That's all. That's all.
They're an ugly people.
They're not.
If you go to Northern Ireland, I implore you, producer, to go look up Northern. Just type in people of Northern Ireland, and let's just objectively, scientifically, we'll refer to Dr. Eddie. What does he think about the people of Northern Ireland? And beasts, beasts is what he should say if he's being intellectually honest.
Johnny, I'd say
I don't know what it is, but it's just a fucking fact, And they're a war-torn people, and I love them, and I'm from that ilk.
I was about to say you have some Irish
Yes.
qualities.
Yeah, but we're actually more Scottish. So we were the people that we're Scots mostly in the Mitchell family. So we were the people that the kingdom put into Northern Ireland that actually created the tension that you see to this day. And I know I'm boring people here. We're supposed to be talking about cock and twat.
It's
but,
weird that you would create tension in a situation, or that your people would, because that seems so far against what you're here for.
yeah, I'm here. I'm here for harmony, baby. Do we look at people of Northern Ireland in the meantime? Sorry, go ahead. It's your show.
No. I want to talk about the difference between showers and growers as well, because we did talk about how your penis is growing from a certain time to a certain time. Now we learned around 21 is your stopping age, but there is still a big difference between showers and growers. And I've definitely met a lot of men who, in a soft form, are very, I don't want to say unimpressive. That's not the word I'm looking for. But just not my taste per se, and then with some arousement can get to a point of impressive. There's that.
Impressive. Very nice.
Wow. So have you seen that? Have you
I have
actually been
sex-
wowed? Being
Yes.
like, holy shit, that was like a magic trick.
I 100% have been wowed.
Wow.
Yeah,
That's
absolutely.
not uncommon, actually.
Yeah,
Not
no,
uncommon at all.
I've very much seen.
Are there
that
any?
into something.
Is there any such thing as a shower but not a grower?
Yes, they also exist where it's very,
Over
very
45.
No, where it's
don't
very
grow.
big, flaccid already, but
Right.
then like we were talking before the show, it doesn't get all the way.
Because it's so goddamn
it-
big.
It can
Yes.
it can get fully erect, right? So showers
Right.
and growers have little to do with the quality of the erection.
Okay.
But some people just naturally, genetically, it's bigger And so the change between the erection and the flaccid penis is not as pronounced.
Right.
But that doesn't
I'd love
necessarily mean that doesn't necessarily
love
mean
that
it's
problem.
larger or bigger or anything else, right?
Okay.
But some guys just look bigger,
Right.
flaccid, and
Yeah.
then, right. And so that's where people get into problems if you're talking in the shower, and guys always compare
What you see
typically.
at the gym or
Right.
whatever.
And
like
so that doesn't
yeah.
necessarily mean that just because it looks big is going to be gigantic or anything,
Mm.
right? It just that could be
That's it.
Sometimes.
It's pretty much that, but with blood.
sometimes it
Yeah.
becomes problematic when we're judging based on stuff like that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I get it. It's hard. It's a hard world out there to judge a penis because sometimes I wish that like you could walk around with like a hard dick and we could just judge with that.
We
But-
think that would be ideal, but then it's like I think very quickly women would be screaming for that to end. I think you guys would be, fucking crying bloody murder.
Well, no, and then I have to worry about the premature ejaculation. So I want to find it directly in here because I just want to make sure that I'm on it. But so it was mentioned. I've read through all of this, and now I just can't place it in here. But where sometimes a man can ejaculate within within a minute of like.
I think moment is right too.
Well, that's
I
also
think
accurate.
a second.
Sure.
But I also wonder, so you said it can be like a medically stimulated thing, but my thought is it not just an overstimulation? Because that's what I always thought it was. I always thought that this man is like so excited to be with me personally, he just can't contain it. That's not the case.
Oh, the stories we tell ourselves.
Isn't that the truth? It's typically not.
Okay.
It's typically not overstimulation. If it happens, sometimes it happens often. So whether
Yeah.
it's lifelong or it's acquired. So acquired means this is the first time or it doesn't happen very often.
Yeah.
Now,
Well,
whether
they
they're-
always say that.
Right. I was going to say whether they're being
Right.
honest with you or themselves, that's probably a different.
Okay.
So if you're excited, if you really haven't let one off in a while, you're gonna come quickly, right?
Sure, but
But I also know men who, like, even I have had a lot of sexual experience with that when they're with me, they come within like 5 minutes, and it's every single
Is
time
that
we
quick
have
for you?
sex.
I mean,
Five is.
the
I call
average
5
numbers-
ideal.
the average
I call
numbers-
5. Okay, we can tap out. We've crossed the finish line. Anything else is extra. You've had dinner.
we could
5
probably
is you've
talk
had
about-
dinner. If we make it to 6, you got a little dessert.
Oh my God.
I
Go
mean,
ahead, Tyler.
Your self-deprecating humor is funny, but there's a lot tied up in everything that you're saying, right? And so you're making jokes about it, but the actual average time to ejaculate isn't that high. So you're
Right.
not really that far off
Right.
for like normal.
Right.
When we're talking about the sexual experience is it could be hours. It depends on if you're a good
Yeah.
lover or not, Johnny.
Yeah.
I don't know.
Right. But how do you go for hours if you can't keep that nut in?
I don't want hours. I just want like 25 minutes, 30 minutes maybe.
Yeah. Well, you're gonna have to put on some,
Grandma.
Holocaust videos or beheading videos or
There are things that you can do to desensitize the head of the penis, right? So there's
Yeah.
pretty common things now
Right.
for people that have premature ejaculation. So it desensitizes the head of the penis.
What?
That's always
what
fun
do you mean
for
by a
men.
condom?
No, well, I mean, a condom typically does.
Right,
Yeah.
That'll
right,
help.
Yeah.
But there's like lotions and stuff that you can use.
Oh,
to
really?
desensitize.
I can't believe they're not sponsoring the show. That's like very common. It's like dick pills or hair medicine now. Like
Well, I
you
need
just buy
to
them
reach out to them.
over the counter and you just swipe it on the head of your rod. Yeah,
Do
there
you
go.
do that, Johnny? Do you desensitize?
I don't because
you
I
don't
just
care
don't.
about the woman?
No. I care about the woman generally, but like I'm going down on box for like 2 hours to where
Are
she's just
you?
oh yeah. I'm eating puss so good, and then it just makes my average, swipe almost secondary.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Because then it's like there's no pressure. After I've taken care of you, now I can
Yeah, but see, I think there's
have my 5 minutes, and then we can move on.
I think there's a big difference between getting taken care of orally and actually having sex. For me, like I can come orally, but I still really, really want to have sex with a penis. Like I just,
Yeah.
it's not the same for me.
Yeah,
Like,
yeah. Well, but if you're with a man over time, right? Like if I'm with my girlfriend, generally I'm tired of having sex with her, so it's harder to come. So she gets she gets more dick because it's
Yeah.
gonna be. We're gonna have the opposite problem.
Okay.
Well, and you'll notice that it's almost worse not being able to come. Trust me, you want a guy who comes a little too quickly as opposed to a guy that can't come.
Well, let's talk about that. Let's talk about not being able to ejaculate. Let's talk about the shooting blanks or the shooting dust. Is is there medical reasoning behind why you're shooting absolutely nothing or having a problem with ejaculating?
I mean, we can talk about biologically your body producing semen. We can talk about prostate health. There are a bunch of different variables there. And so it could be all of them or none of them.
What about I'm secretly gay? Is that one? Do we see that?
I mean, that certainly happens
Why can't
in the
you
real world.
come? Well, because I need a butt pussy. Anyways.
Yeah. Well, that's definitely a thing because you're not turned on by
Gotta
the
be,
person
right?
that you're
Gotta be.
like being forced to be with.
Sounds horrible.
And we're going to talk about that in a consent episode as well. But, okay. Side scratching everything we just went because we went down a rabbit hole. So let's talk about penis size being dependent on a combination of genes, specifically sex chromosomes. So no matter what you do at birth, you cannot change basically the size of your penis without having some sort of medical procedures done, right? So penis size is all genetics. Correct? It's coming from your father or even sometimes from your mother's father, which is a question I had earlier before we started.
We can also argue that it has to do with health, right? Only because how healthy you are, obesity plays a role. All of those things are going to play roles as well.
Penis
in your dick size?
Yeah.
We're both like,
What?
what?
I gotta get on a diet then. Is it too late for me?
Having a healthy diet and exercise and all of those things absolutely plays a role in all of these things.
Okay.
But
So you
when
can't separate one from the other.
But when you're growing up, though, because for me, it's like I'm over 20. Like, I don't think my
You're
penis
over
is growing
20?
anymore.
Yeah, we know.
it's not going to change very
It's not
much.
going to change very much,
No.
right? But I've heard dick sizes and taint sizes are shrinking now because of the plastics in everything that we consume. Did you guys see that girl? She went, or a lady, she's 89.
No, I
she went
don't
on
know
Joe
about
Rogan,
this.
and she was like the microfibers from the plastics in water bottles, in whatever, are
Can
actually
I shrink my vagina lips or?
no. You just go to the surgeon when you got that nose done, sweetie. Can I get a 2-for-1? This will be easier. This is just a little snip.
I'd say it's environment as well. It's
Right.
not just plastics and stuff, right?
Right.
But our environment plays a large role in a lot of our health issues.
Okay.
Right? And so we're made up of more than just genetics and biology.
Right.
Society plays a role. All of those things are going to be
Right.
pieces of it. And so our environment plays a pretty large role in cancers, in all sorts of things. And so, of course, it's going to impact it. But I have read a couple of studies where a lot of things are self-reported when it comes to penis size and when it comes to those changes.
So lies. He
And
means
so,
lies. A
well,
lot of those.
self-reporting
Just
is one of the limitations because there's not a lot of studies. And so I know a few colleagues and professors that have tried to do studies on those changes where people measure it and take pictures, and that's the
Well, I know.
that's the study.
Nice.
But that becomes problematic when you're receiving pictures of penises.
yeah, on your
Next to
phone
rulers.
at 2 a.m.
I have no problem with that. I have no problem.
Is a USC professor. He's getting dick pics sent to him at
But
fucking
I
midnight.
know some male sex workers who have claimed to have grown their penis by weights and different like activities and things like that.
I mean, you can certainly stretch skin, and there's a
Right.
movement of people that have been circumcised to stretch the skin to then have a foreskin again. So that's certainly a reality. And
Yeah.
you can stretch and massage those things. If we talk about
Johnny, you could just massage it out. You could just massage it longer.
it's a different kind of massage.
Oh, okay.
Well, yeah, I was gonna say I massage. Don't worry about that. I'm on a regular massage routine. If you want to call it that, it's a rough massage. But okay, let's ask the $1 million question, Eddie. We all want to know, Dr. Eddie, if it's genetic, why do the African American fellows seem how did that evolve?
That's their genetics. That's their great genetics.
Yeah, how though? It's like how the elephant got its tusk, right? Like it's a parable. How did the black man get his tusk, his third leg?
That's a complicated question.
Yeah, it's fascinating.
And it's
though.
not just African Americans or Africans in general. Different ethnicities have different averages and different
Right.
sizes.
Sure.
And so it's African Americans are held up to a very specific standard in
Yes.
comparison to like their Caucasian brothers here in the US. So when we're comparing two different ethnicities, there's a lot of variation within those ethnicities. So
Sure.
a blanket statement that all African Americans have,
Which is not true.
which is absolutely not
Yeah.
true. But it's also the same on the other end, right? All Caucasians aren't on the other end
Right.
of the spectrum as well. And
Right.
so,
Right.
like those kind of blanket statements
Depends
are,
what kind of white.
We're,
Italians, more hung in terms of the whites, you know? Scotsmen like me could go either way. You
And
know?
he's been to prison. He would know.
Yeah, I've shot. Yeah, exactly. So when I hear that not all black men are well endowed, I'm like, yeah, according to, I don't know. I can't confirm that. It's like the Loch Ness monster. You might have seen one.
I've seen lots. Go ahead.
It's a good call.
well, and so
I bet it's comparable, me and you.
I'd say there's a lot of variation across the board. And so I wouldn't say that African Americans are larger, period.
Right.
Right.
I'd say that there's enough variation within different
Right.
communities.
But you
Sure.
would say that they're faster runners. I'm just kidding.
I mean, there are certain countries that produce better
Faster,
Olympians.
bigger dick people.
Right, right.
Faster, bigger dick
But
people.
you know what, though?
That's all.
It's probably not the East Africans because they're not the fast ones. They're the ones that have the slow heartbeats, and they're actually better long-distance runners.
There you go.
But you figure if they got big old swinging dicks, that's going to weigh them down in long-distance running. You know what I mean?
Sure.
So that's
For
the
sure.
ironic thing about it is
Way to really put a lot of thought
those
into
guys
that
are
one.
aerodynamic. I could
Yeah.
I could do what Eddie does, but I'm like some version of a quasi-racist anthropologist. You know what I mean?
Oh my god, it hurts for me to hear you say that.
I'm not.
Me
No,
too,
no,
a
no.
little
I'm not. I'm not
I
racist, but I'm saying it would be painted as quasi-racism. We have difficulty getting grants now in this politically correct time. Anyways,
We do not all agree with the statements that come
I'm
out
not.
of
I mean,
Johnny
there's no
Mitchell's
statements. I'm
mouth.
saying we couldn't get grant money.
Okay. We have to wrap this episode up before very much longer, but I do want to at least address ED, erectile dysfunction, because it is a very real situation in which penises certainly suffer the consequences or the adverse effects of. So let's talk about it. So the definition is inadequate penile erection, otherwise known as erectile dysfunction, is defined as the inability to obtain or maintain a penile erection sufficient for successful intercourse. Okay? Solutions often include surgery, vacuum pumps, injectables, and intraurethral suppositories. I didn't know that.
Damn.
I don't know about the suppositories. Now, I've seen the blue pills. I've seen
The yellow pills.
I've seen the pumps. I've seen
Yep.
the shots.
Yep.
But I don't know anything about a
Damn.
penis
That sounds fucking painful
that
as
you
fuck.
put a
I don't
pill
know.
in the
it's
pee hole.
really small and really thin and
Ooh.
really narrow.
Goes to
It's
the
on.
pee hole.
Oh.
Yeah.
And so it grows from the inside, basically.
It increases blood flow.
What's the benefit to that over just taking Viagra?
Well, and so all of these have been popular at different points.
Right,
So
right.
before Viagra or in the beginning of Viagra, the injectables were pretty common.
Right.
So when I was studying sex workers in New Orleans, a lot of the sex workers didn't have access to Viagra and Cialis at that point, right? 2013.
Yeah.
And so the injectables were what people had access to, but then that creates an injection site
Yeah.
in the
yeah.
base of the penis where
Yeah.
you're about to engage in sex.
Yeah.
Right. And so that was pretty common when heterosexually identified sex workers were engaging in sex with other men.
Right.
Right. So they're
Right.
straight guys. They can't get a hard on.
Right, for a man.
Right.
Right.
But they would inject as the only way that they could, or they would end up bottoming, which is not uncommon either.
I
Yeah.
love when the hookers I'm with inject me. I assume they have medical licenses to do so.
Likely. They likely do. Is these female or male?
It would be female
Prostitutes.
prostitutes, yeah.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Well, you like what you like.
Yeah, I know. I'm sorry if that makes me I hope it doesn't make me a Nazi. I like sex with women.
So let's talk about some of the causes of erectile dysfunction before we head out. So again, it's the health concern. So it's obesity, diabetes, high blood pressure, injuries, or treatment to the prostate, such as cancer or an
Right.
absence of exercise. All of these can lead to erectile
Right.
issues. So
Psychologically too.
Yo,
Probably, right?
absolutely.
Big time.
Psychologically, I
Anxiety.
think it's probably one of the biggest. I would say, especially in my field, because there's so much going on around you that you have other people watching you, and you have a certain amount of time that you have to have sex for, and you have to be able to come on command, and so it's a lot
Pressure,
of that.
yeah.
But I think that's any time that you're with any partner, really. Is that? I mean, I don't have
Yeah.
a penis, so you tell me. But
No,
isn't
it's
it
the worst. It's
kind
the
of
worst.
pressure with
Oh,
everyone?
Yeah. Yeah, yeah, especially if it's somebody new,
Right.
you know, and you're like, oh my God, I don't want her. It's the most humiliating thing on earth. It really is.
Right.
Guys, I mean.
But should it be, though? Should
No,
it really
A
be?
real one, it depends how old you are. Like a chick over 30 who's not fucking immature is like, yeah, okay,
Right,
get
it
his dick up.
happens.
Yeah,
right.
yeah.
But I've definitely
A cool-ass
taken,
chick.
I've taken offense to it because I've thought, oh, it had something to do with me and the fact
Yeah.
that they weren't attracted to me when really it could have been that they haven't worked out in 2 months.
Yeah, or maybe they just jerked off that day, right?
Or
That's a
maybe
big
they can't pay their rent and are stressed
Stressed.
about it, or maybe their car is broken, or maybe all these other variables that
Yeah.
add anxiety to our everyday lives.
Yeah, but
Right.
get your dick up and maybe Sylvia will shelter you for a little bit. You know what I mean? It's certainly not going to help your rent not get paid if you can't get your dick, you know? There's
So-
solutions now.
So
Well,
obviously there are
Squats.
solutions.
Do some squats.
There are a lot of solutions, obviously. So let's talk about it. Viagra, Cialis, Levitra, and Stendra. Am I saying that one correctly? I've never heard of
Yeah.
that one.
Yeah.
That's new
It's just
for me.
another one. Yep.
Okay, but it's the same kind of variable, correct?
Yeah.
Yep.
I've heard of something like a powder you put in water now, and it's actually healthier for you. And it's got like the sildenafil and the tildenafil. What is it, Eddie? The
I don't know
tildenafil
those
or something?
words.
And so, yeah, but it's like, it's like water-based. So you don't have to actually take the pill.
And you just drink it.
Yeah.
How immediate does it work?
I haven't used it, but I've heard it
Oh.
works pretty immediately.
Interesting.
Yeah.
I haven't come across that.
Yeah.
Actually.
Okay.
Yeah.
So there are definitely
That's another
ways.
sponsor.
Yeah,
Let's go.
I know, definitely ways to address it. So can we do one more before we go? I'm trying so heavily to knock all these in because there's so many things about the penis. We're gonna have to make a second episode because I just can't get to all of them.
Penis part 2.
Yeah, we're going to do a penis part 2 for sure.
Nice.
But let's talk about some diseases that are related, but
Not diseases.
Okay, I shouldn't say that.
Well, they're
But
not
it is called a disease. So it's
Oh, Peyronie's disease.
yeah. Peyronie's disease is where I was going.
Are they
with this.
infections? Is that the correct?
Well, this is something that might actually cause erectile dysfunction, but
Oh.
it's actually
It's based on an injury. You end up hurting yourself. So let's say if you can't maintain firm erection,
Right.
and so you're somewhat erect,
Andrea, do you have that photo?
that's
Yeah.
when you can potentially
There you
injure
go.
yourself.
Oh.
Right. What ends up happening is that top area becomes like the injury spot, becomes like a
Right.
scar tissue, and that's when Peyronie's disease. You get large, dramatic curves,
Right.
which end up being quite painful for the people. And so there's different ways that you can deal with that medically. But one of them is kind of a stretching tool
Yeah.
that people get a lot of relief from because it's incredibly painful. But the process of stretching it and working out the plaques that happen
Yeah.
in those scar tissue are incredibly painful. So the whole process is actually pretty painful. But
Worth it to not have a dick like it's flexing, like it's an arm.
I
that's
actually
flexing.
like a curve in a penis. I just don't want it to be painful for the man. So, and when this disease, it actually is painful
It
for
is.
the man. So,
or it can
sounds
be, right?
horrible.
It's going
Yeah.
to depend on a lot of different variables,
Right.
and the percentage of the curve is going to be
Okay.
an important factor. Yeah.
interesting. And now, does it matter if it's curved up or curved to the side? It doesn't.
No, it doesn't. What matters is where the scar tissue and the plaque is, and that's what's going to dictate the direction of the curve. And so it becomes problematic when you are not fully erect and you're engaging in intercourse. That's when you can injure yourself, right? So that's when you can have those problems. And that's just one type of injury that leads.
I see.
Interesting, right?
Wow, dude.
Okay. Well, unfortunately, you guys, we are running so short on time. We don't have enough, but I'm going to do a dick part 2 because I have so many more questions and we have so much more to discuss. The penis is such an important organ for me, for you, for all of us. So let's discuss it and
It's
really
going to be
get in
replaced
deep.
soon. Yeah.
No.
I think.
Oh, I can't.
Replaced by what, Johnny?
I think it's just gonna be like robot. Everybody will. There's enough semen stored up to where they're just gonna give it to like robots or whatever. You know what I mean?
You just get some frozen sperm. To make a
Totally,
baby.
and then you just turkey baste it.
Yeah,
you
we
know?
don't even have to have pregnant women anymore.
So
It'd be
we won't
fantastic.
be
Right,
talking
you grow
about-
babies.
So sexual health and fulfillment and all of those variables that go along with sex don't matter.
They're gone.
They're gone. Okay.
Yeah.
Johnny
Just
doesn't need
checking.
it, so the rest of the world doesn't need it.
Yeah.
That's his.
Are you
from LA,
perspective.
Johnny?
Wait for the metaverse, dude. trust me. All this, give it 100 years.
You
This
just
whole
want a
sex
suction
thing.
cup.
It's we're gonna be hooked up to this machine like we're Neo from the Matrix. This is all 20th century stuff.
I'm
we're
sure there are
talking
a
about.
lot of guys who would love to have a suction cup on their dick every night. Let's just be honest. But-
Yeah, I mean, yeah, why not, dude?
that can't be good for our mental and
No.
emotional.
Oh, no.
For mental and
No.
emotional health, which
No.
are pretty integral to our public health.
Right. Oh, absolutely. Yeah. No, that's all fucked.
All right, Johnny, before we go, tell the people where they can find you and your crudeness.
At
a little bit.
Mr. Johnny Mitchell. You can follow my Instagram page, Johnny Mitchell. We're doing quite well on there. Stand-up clips all the time.
Yeah.
And the Fuck Men podcast with my friend Leo DiTavio of The Bachelorette. That's all over the interwebs. So, yeah, please go ahead and do it up. Thanks.
All right. Thank you, Johnny, for being on here and being our voice of reason always.
Sure,
and
absolutely.
thank you, Dr. Eddie, for your helpful information. We always look to you for amazing advice and sexual health information. And until next time, guys, when we come back for a Dick Part 2.
Oh, yes. Can't wait for Dick Part 2.
All right, guys. Adios. Until next time.